And we are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Yes, my name is ArrowFyre. Welcome to Let's Talk Transformers, episode 11. I'm joined this evening by three wonderful co-hosts. I have Lee, Spiderfather, I have Phil, Plastic Craic, and I have Brandon, Bayverse of Madness. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me this evening. Let's play a loud intro, shall we?
Let's talk Transformers.
It's not that bad.
It's
not that bad. It's okay. There's worse things than that. Right. So we are going to go on with some news items, starting with. There's a few things that are going to come up that are news that we're going to use as discussion points later on. Just going to talk about a few reveals that we've had recently. So, Brandon, do you want to kick us off with what this is?
Yeah, this is the new Transformers Studio Series, Age of Extinction, Optimus Prime. I've got mixed feelings about this, really. At first, I absolutely hated it. I thought I definitely thought the Last Night Voyager was the best Voyager model. What we've got, however, I think this is a leader class, but I actually after spending a bit more time with it, I do like what they've done with this Optimus Prime. So they've said that it's the pre-forearm Optimus Prime before he gets the sword and his arms actually bulk up to a knight. And it actually comes with his Energon sword he uses to fight Galvatron with, which I think is a nice touch. It would have been cool if it had a bit of like orange paint, to light it up a bit more. But I like that the fact with the shield, it does actually expand like the movie, so you can actually have it as the gun. And I believe on the live stream they did say that it has a removable head, so you can have it with the faceplate on and without the faceplate on. So again, I've got a bit of a mixed bag about the whole design. But I've always said this with the Last Night and Age of Extinction's designs. It's always been really, really hard to make them into Transformers because there was very slick designs and very, not many car parts were actually on the design. So I kind of do let them Hasbro off with this. But I do think everything about this is it's quite decent. But like I said, after spending a bit of more time with it, I've come to genuinely like it. So yeah.
Oh, cool. Fair enough. Nice to know about the head, flipping in and out.
Yeah,
I take your point as well.
Like
this.
I think it does. Yeah, I think you can't get the heads off.
Bland, because there's a lot of grey plastic on there where you'd expect to see some silver paint.
Also, did you say Leader or Voyager?
I think it's Leader.
Maybe a bit.
I mean, if you look at the previous Leader one, it's got rubber tires, it's got clear plastic, it's got oodles of paint all over it, and it's got chrome. And you look at Studio Series, which is supposed to be a premium line, and you're really seeing those cost-cutting measures come in. I hope Takara's going to give us a premium version of this at some point, like they did with the previous movie Optimuses, because I think it would really stand out if it got all those extra bits.
I don't know if you've noticed as well, they've got fake smokestacks. So at the back, you see the smokestacks on the back, but also if you look at the legs, that's where his smokestacks are. So
I quite like them on the legs though, and I know it's not like accurate, but I think it's a nice touch. It's
legs are very busy, aren't they?
Oh
yeah, this design you can only do it as a shell former. Really.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, moving on, we've seen this before, but this is the other release, the package refresh of the definitely Leader class. This one, isn't it? Because I think I saw it with the Shockwave. Yeah, it's big boy, chunky boy.
Yeah, I've got the previous release, and you do get all these accessories with the previous one. But I think Studio Series is one of those lines where a lot of people, particularly in the US, have trouble getting hold of the figures when they're released initially. So the fact that they're re-releasing stuff to some collectors may seem like a waste, but genuinely there are a lot of people out there that would want to get hold of these.
I do think that's such a cool design though. I think half the problem with Shockwave, with the Bay films, is that they did nothing with him as a character, and I think it's a shame. But actually, as a design, it's this massive hulking.
I mean, he could carry a film as the main villain all on his own.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. If Scourge can do it for Rise of the Beast, then Shockwave could do it on be a standalone villain. I do say though that this alt mode that he turns into that stationary massive cannon is possibly one of Shockwave's best alt modes, but that's not saying a lot. Shockwave's alt modes have largely been rubbish, whatever the continuity. But this is one of the better ones.
Out of the movie toys, my favourite Shockwave alt mode has got to be his Cyberverse one, where he plugged into this little base that he came with, and that gave you a very nice big tank with a lot of playability. This one feels a little bit like it's in the rough shape of it, good enough, but it is a nice figure.
Yeah.
Then we got a very dinky Prime. This is a deluxe, and this is very small. Is this meant to be? So did you say Devastation, Brandon?
It's from Devastation.
So
is it the Devastation one? Yeah.
I was trying to think because this looks very similar, obviously, to Studio Series 86. And my first thought was, is this just 86 scaled down? But then, really, that's Prime no matter what.
It's a whole
brand new mold. It's a brand new mold.
Mm.
It's just the shoulders. The shoulders are very restricted in their movements, and because we've had a lot of figures with butterfly joints at the shoulders, you can really tell where this is going to struggle to be posed properly.
I think it's going to end up being the size of the G1 Universe Prime, isn't it? Very, very small.
But mostly.
But the thing about Devastation is it's totally G1 aesthetic anyway. So I guess for someone who wants a smaller G1 style Prime, then cool, but it's probably not for me.
I would say so. I think we probably got other offerings for G1 Prime, haven't we? Brandon, back to you then.
This is the Studio Series Dark of the Moon. I like to call him Q. Very unique name. They did it with, Mirage and Dino. On the Studio Series box, they actually called him Dino. I prefer to call him Dino. And with this, I like to call him Q. I think at first when they showed the product shots last year, I thought it was perfect. And then when they revealed this, I think he looks a bit too chunky compared to how he was shown last year with the reveals. But I also he zoomed into his head. That's funny.
It's nightmare fuel. It's pure 100% nightmare fuel. Look at that face. Good Lord. Does that scream, I'm here to help the Autobots?
He's got the Predator's skull, hasn't he, there? He's got the Predator.
Now I can't not see that. Thanks, Phil.
But I think it's missing... I think, Lee was saying earlier with Optimus, how he was missing a bit of paint. I think this is definitely missing paint. It just looks grey and blue with touches of gold. But I like the accessories that it comes with, obviously spear and all his other tools and stuff. I think that's nice. But again, I think my main criticism is that it's just a bit chunky, and that's all really. I like the blue touches to the air. I think that's quite cool.
Yeah. Okay.
And the original toy was released right at the arse end of the line and didn't see a lot of distribution. So actually, Q's one of the rarest characters to try and get hold of.
He's going to find one now.
There he is.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people won't have a version of this character, so it's good that they can now.
And it's really rare as well.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, this Bumblebee, is this a package refresh as well?
No, it's brand new mold.
Oh, brand
new, is it? All right. Shows how much I know. Okay.
It looks due out imminently, because I got an email from Hasbro Pulse saying that it's going to ship soon, so we'll have it in hand, not too far in the future.
I think that looks pretty decent, all things considered.
I really like how the door wings can angle down this time instead of sticking out like you're seeing on this product shot. So I think that's a nice touch.
Chest and leg proportions remind me a lot of Transformers Prime, actually. The Transformers Prime figures would be
big feet.
Yeah. And then moving on from that. So into, bigger, spikier stuff. Now, all right, so this is Takara, and this is obviously a Predaking. I'm of the thinking that this is, and Lee, you'll have to keep me honest here. My first thinking is that this is Masterpiece, like their train bots were the Raiden.
Well, that's the problem. We don't really know what the point of this line is and what its mission statement is, because the Rodimus, which is due out soon, I think,
There's the
is
Flames
very
toys.
much a Flame Toys model that can turn into a car. And this is completely new and original, and it's doing something that neither Hasbro or Takara are doing with any other lines at the minute. It's original looking because they've changed up Razor Claw, made him nice and big and chunky. It's its own thing. It's a one-off thing. So trying to compare it to anything else, I'm not sure we can.
Yeah, and I'm a bit confused with this naming as well. So I think the hold on, the first image has it Adnams Machina, but it's still with Takara as well. So it's not even directly MPG or Takara or MP62 or wherever we're at. So you're right. It's kind of something completely left field.
If Takara is outsourcing the design to somebody else, and that's where the collaboration comes in. I think we'll find out properly when the Generations 25 book comes out. If they've got the figures in there, they'll usually have a little interview about the design process, at which point we'll be able to know for definite what's going on with this line.
Yeah, because you're right. It's doesn't kind of feel like it's going down the realms of certainly what their Superior's doing, but obviously that's in Chug, that's under Generations. But this,
I mean, these look Chug to me. They just look designed in their own little
don't they?
Niche.
Yeah, but it's under the Takara banner, which makes you feel. My first thought was with MPG, but I'm still not entirely sure what MPG is. But there you go. I mean, it's a Predaking. I'm going to buy it. I've committed.
Definitely.
Yeah, balls in. Simple as. What else? Right, Beast Wars news. Yeah, we're tuning into Beast Wars news. Little Rat Trap. Fantastic. And he's very small, but he doesn't cost half the world as well. Or I think some people were saying maybe he's a little pricey, but I do think this scale is bang on. I think he is small, but he always was small.
You remind me of Rhinox here, because I still don't have Rhinox. So that Rat Trap looks.
You still don't have Rhinox?
Fantastic. I don't. No.
Oh man, he's brilliant. He's well worth having. I can't speak to the KO, but that has come out now as well. But it was funny enough. It was Dave Wallace, TF Nation's Dave Wallace, who said this, that we're actually going to complete a toy line. Because if you think we're never going to complete G1, if you think of every single character that's been introduced from 84 to God knows what, but you can actually finish the Maximals or the Predacons, there's only X amount either side. And this is as the original Arc Crew. So, man, I'm absolutely all in on this. My first worry was it didn't have an ankle tilt, but I think we've seen, I haven't got the images, but we've seen some product shots of it out in the wild, and it does bend. Lee, I know you and I have similar views on the backpack. He definitely has one, doesn't he?
He does, but then, like we were saying when the pictures first surfaced, these things were created in a computer, and a lot of liberties were taken to get from point A to point B. I think the other decent Rat Trap we've got is the Trans Art one, and even then they try and be more accurate to the show, but the backpack is still massive and huge, and they have to use faux shoulder pads, don't they, for the mouse head?
Yes.
Yeah. So there is no way that the physics of reality can compromise enough to give us a screen accurate Rat Trap, but they've got the expression, they've got the detail, the Rat alt mode's got all of the articulation you want, because he spent half the time he was in Rat mode. So
he was more in Rat mode, wasn't he? Yeah. Being a rodent.
I think he looks great. And you're talking about size. Most people were using the deluxe Chug Rat Trap as their stand-in for ages, and I doubt there's much difference between the two.
Yeah, he's a slender one. I don't know if I've got another image of the alt mode, but I think that alt mode looks absolutely brilliant. They've captured that to perfection.
The belly, where they've had to cover the belly so he can stand on his hind legs, that's where a lot of the bulk for the backpack's coming from. So they've obviously made a design decision that they want that alt mode to be as accurate to the show as possible, and it's the robot mode that's going to have to pay the bill.
Yeah, and as you rightly say, he's a small bot and he's a slender bot, and I think you're going to get characters like this in Beast Wars where it's got to go somewhere. But yeah, it looks really nice, and it doesn't cost that much. This is coming under the MPG banner. Whether that makes a difference or not, I don't know. But yeah, I'm all in for it. September release, so not too long.
And we could do with some Predacons now. We've got an awful lot of Maximals in Masterpiece, and only one Predacon. Well, two if you count Shadow Panther. But
yeah, I know what you mean. But think of the ones that are left though: Scorponok, Inferno, Tarantulas, Waspinator. Not easy. I mean, I'm in Inferno all day long, but
the
they
legacy
are not
one's
easy.
good enough. Do you know what I mean? As a figure, like imagine what they could do with the Masterpiece one. Be amazing.
I mean, yeah, I'd be happy with an upscale of that legacy one, to be fair. But as I say, like those bots, particularly Inferno, he stood into a big fire ant and a very slender robot mode. That's a challenge, you know. And if they try Pterosaur as well, and I imagine they would.
Well, Pterosaur, you're gonna have to just accept that the two things are not possible. Because there was a guy who did a fan version, and the wings of the alt mode, I think they either came off or they folded right down into the body.
They did, but you had Metagate who did their Masterpiece version, which is as good a version as you can hope to get. How that
my
folds
brother's
out,
got him. He's absolutely
it's good.
Isn't he?
How fiddly is it?
It's a terrible transformation. I say terrible. Parts of it are terrible. How you have to get the beak head out and you end up like hitting wings that arch around. There's a lot of panels, but nevertheless, what they achieved from a pterodactyl to a stick figure, biped, it was brilliant. But it's not one I relish transforming. No, absolutely not. But yeah, we could do with some Predacons, couldn't we? Okay. Sorry, more Beast Wars news. Sad news.
It's not. Don't apologise. More Beast Wars news every week.
I'm not. You know me. I'm not going to apologise for Beast Wars news, but I am going to apologise for sad news because I don't like to labour on a negative. So, let me tell you the backstory. Transart have come out with a message, and what I'll do is I will flick it up on my phone because I took a screenshot earlier. Transart apparently have been getting some toxic messages, and this has been shown. This screenshot I've got here, I've taken much later in the day. This is all from the likes of TFW 2005 and Beast Wars groups on Facebook. So it sounds like on Weibo, social media site, that Transart are taking a lot of flack for their products. And I'm not entirely sure as to why, but this is the message I've got from first thing today, and it's roughly translated, so do bear with. It says, the factory's been closed for the holidays as we're coming up to Lunar New Year. If you need any after-sale support, all this stuff, we'll get going in the new year. And Optimal Optimus, which has already been released by Transart, will be reissued once we're back up and running. Due to our particularly challenging environment, we have decided to discontinue the development of new Beast Wars products and likely won't produce them in the future. And then there's another image that goes into it, similar to what's on screen now. The economy has not been doing so well, and sales in several recent new products have been particularly poor. The investment return has left us with little hope. Also, our critics are too strong and relentless, constantly tearing things apart, which has utterly crushed our morale. Quite heavy going. We can't do this anymore. It's just too exhausting. We sincerely thank you. And this is, going on. And then this comes out a fair few hours later, saying, starting today, the comment section on Weibo will be closed. There are no new messages that we sent out from the company in the future. We wish you all Happy New Year in advance. And then another one comes out. Look at the comment section in the last Weibo post. This is a result of blocking some people. We've endured too much malicious in the past few years. We are really unwilling to endure it anymore, so we resolutely quit the Beast Wars circle. There are too many bad people in it. So there you go.
Was it Transart who made the Transmetal Dinobot last year?
Yes,
One of the
Dinobot
people.
2.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, because you had the KO as well. The only Transart figure that did get KO'd or fourth partied. The only one. I have not seen any negativity towards Transart in a toxic state. I've been critical of them of some of their more releases on my channel. But as I say, I feel like there's wobbles. I feel like there's been missteps. But I certainly haven't been slating them. And in many ways, I think they've been one of the best ones out there for what they've released. But there was rumblings leading up to these messages dropping from last night and today that they weren't going to do Depth Charge and they weren't going to do Rampage. And Rampage was always going to be a long way off. Depth Charge did have pre-orders up. I had a pre-order in with Show Z for it. So they were all set to do it. A CAD drawing had been done for it. And then suddenly, nothing. This also comes into other things of Dinobot 2 got delayed. Silverbolt got delayed as well. And then some of their other releases, like their Quick Strike, was not great. I think people have accepted that. If you like it, great, but whatever. But now to suddenly stop, I don't know. This is quite a knee-jerk reaction to go this to the nuclear option, to say we're done. We're absolutely done. If it's down to poor sales as well, I don't know. It might be. I think it's a bloody shame either way.
I mean, this community backlash appears to be centered majority in China because of its Weibo that they're having trouble with. And we've not seen it in the West. Then there's something about the Chinese Transformers fandom that's particularly unpleasant that we would never know about because we don't speak Chinese and we can't read the posts. I think it is a big shame because Beast Wars is underrepresented in third party. And I ordered every single one of those trans art figures. And you're right, that some of them have got some things that you wish they'd chosen a different way of doing. But on the whole, they're quality original third party toys. And I'll be immeasurably and eternally grateful for their amazing Transmetal Tarantulas, which has got to be one of their best figures.
I'd say it's the best one. Yeah, that has no right to be as good, has no right to be better than an already amazing toy, which I've said many times. But I just to absolutely stop it dead and say we're not doing this anymore. I think, I don't know, and hopefully.
I'm hoping Show Z will chase them up and find out what's happening with Depth Charge because I've got a deposit in for Depth Charge. I imagine they'll refund it as points like they would normally, but this isn't an official company statement. This is just post on social media. So until they've put out an official statement, there's still a big question mark over it.
There is. I mean, there has been noises, but you can never be absolutely sure what you read and if it comes from TFW 2005 or anyone could post on there. But yeah, we'll have to see. And as you say, you'll probably get something from Show Z if it has indeed been cancelled. And that is all.
I still have my Optimus and Transmetal Primal, which I've not even opened yet. So they're not dead until I've done that.
They're still alive and kicking and all the way. Right. Well, that's the news covered. It's gone on a little bit for quick items. You'll be pleased to know there is no quiz this month. I did not have time to prepare one, so you're let off the hook. But when you're all next on again, I will do 2 quizzes just to upset you. No. But let's talk around the topic. You all know this when I ask you all to come on. I do not like to breed negativity. I do not like to talk and wallow into it. I don't think that's why we do this, not why I do YouTube. It's not why we're in the fandom, but it's the question that keeps coming up, and a lot of people are talking about it. So I'm interested in your thoughts. Is Transformers in decline? So bit of backstory as to why this is coming up as a question. Really, sadly, from Transformers 1. Absolute masterpiece of a film that it is. Didn't do well in the box office, leading to a few other things that have come up. With everything going downhill, Hasbro not wanting to do films. And as you maybe hit the nail on the head, Lee, Takara even looking to outsource. We don't know. But if that is a way, for Takara to kind of ease off, it's less and less after we just had 40-year anniversary. So who wants to go first? Do you think in any way or another is Transformers in decline?
I think it's a hard one because it's since the Bay films came out and boosted it back into the public consciousness, we've had quite a lot of rise where it was raking in billions and billions and public knowledge and everything you saw about Transformers was just up, up, up. So I think it's natural that we're going to have some sort of ebb and flow with revenues and interest in it. I think it's a bit early to get worried about it. Transformers 1 was incredible, but maybe being an animated film and being so, I don't want to say because it was so good, but because it was so indebted to the lore of Transformers, I think maybe it wasn't ever going to be as successful as a sort of mass marketed big budget action film, which Bumblebee wasn't either. So yeah, I think it's definitely on a decline from where it was. I'm not sure that that it's as worrying as it could be. I think we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with the brand and with many new TV shows. But we are talking about negativity, and half the problem with negativity in Transformers is you get a new show or a new property which could boost Transformers and introduce it to new audiences, and a lot of people who are the older fans straight away jump on it for not being what they want. And it happened with Transformers 1 as well. It wasn't exactly what some people wanted, so people jump on it and try and knock it down before it's even being built up. So I think people need to give things more of a chance as well.
As soon as that first trailer came out, everybody just wrote it off as a kid's movie or whatever it was. But it, again, like everybody said, it was brilliant. So
it really was, and I think it's just kind of maybe modern day society like this seems to be jump on and knock everything down and get your view as to why you hate it. But you look back at things in Transformers alone, when it has, when you look back at how big an impact something has had, whether you didn't like Beast Wars, Truck Not Monkey, it still has a big following to this day. If you didn't like the live action films, but then there's Brandon, and people like him who absolutely love these films.
There's one or two other people as well, I'm sure.
One or two. Yeah, I'm sure it's not just Brandon, but he is here. So I'd be remiss to talk over him. But go on, lady. Do you want to chip in?
No, I'll go last because I'm just going to go on about it. So go and get your opinions in now.
All right, I'll get mine. I don't think Transformers is in decline. I think there's been a couple of unfortunate things. Another point in Transformers Reactivate, which we'll go on to later. I've got that down as a topic. It's a shame Transformers 1 didn't do as well in the box office, but as a couple of people have said in the chat, it has seemingly done well on streaming services. And I know many, many people have picked it up on DVD. I was one of them. Watched it in 4K over Christmas. Very much enjoyed it. But I do think, like Phil said, it's kind of, and this is why I don't like to bring this up as a topic or anything like it, it's negativity breeding negativity. And I think whether you felt the 40-year anniversary, 2024, was as big as it could have been, should have been for Transformers is neither here nor there. Is it in decline? I just think it's been a couple of stumbles and possibly nothing more than that. That's where I look at it. Go on, Lee. The floor's yours.
Is it in decline? What do you mean exactly? Do you mean is Transformers losing its power as a brand? Is it moving towards just disappearing altogether? No, neither of those are true. We've just had the 40th anniversary, and I thought 40th anniversary was really good. We came to the end of the year, and we had a couple of disappointing things that we had to come to terms with. One, that Transformers 1's box office was poor, despite the fact that it was a great movie. And the long-expected news that Transformers Reactivate has been cancelled, which is through no fault of Hasbro's. That's all down to the video game industry, which really is a massive mess. And sure, Transformers isn't as big at the minute as it was during the heyday of the Bay films, because the Bay films were when our hobby was elevated to being mass appeal and that everybody knew about it. Mm-hmm. But to say that the brand's in decline, no. I mean, in 2024, there were 191 official Transformers figures released. And there were only ever 4 years in the past 40 where there were more figures released. And that tended to be when there was a lot of mini-cons around. So Hasbro and Takara are pushing out more figures than ever before. And people are buying them because it's not long before you go and try and pre-order something or buy something. It's already gone. You can't get it anymore. You've got to start paying silly prices for it. I think the challenge is that Hasbro has to bring in the children, and we as fans have to accept that we're 40-year-old men. The world we lived in is gone. So the 80s Transformers boom. So most of us.
I'm holding on to the 3 for all it's worth.
And the 80s boom, where Transformers was its most popular it's ever been, is not coming back because the world is different. There's too much choice. The children of today are doing different things to the children of 1980s.
Huge.
So you've got the CEO of Hasbro saying they want to concentrate more on video games. That's not just some executive trying to make changes for the sake of changes. He's been brought in because the toy market is declining, because children are on their iPads rather than playing with their action figures.
Exactly. I agree. Because I've got a little brother as well who, when I was a kid, I used to go around to my friends and play with Transformers all the time. Whereas from about 6-7 years old, he was straight on a PlayStation or an Xbox. Back then, when you got a toy, it was the next best thing. Whereas now, a PlayStation is the next best thing now to a kid. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
And I'm interested because we don't know much about Cyberworld at the minute. But from what
that's
we
a
do
new cartoon that's kind of going to be sort of, are we thinking that this is born out of Earthspark, or is it just the next thing?
Well, I think it's the next thing. What I think is that until we know more, if I was Hasbro, I would be looking to get more AR interactivity with the toys, and having an app where, like with Robots in Disguise, where you scan the figure and you got bonuses and power ups in your app.
That was really cool. That being able to get the character that you just bought and playing the game, it was excellent.
Yeah. So I think they may pivot one of the Transformers lines, which this Cyberworld may be, into being more online. So you still have your physical toy, but there's a more online element to playing with it.
I think that makes a lot of sense. It's something that Nintendo have done before. So yeah, why not?
But us adult fans, we're not particularly slowing down what we're doing. I mean, the cost of living may be squeezing our budgets, but we're still eager to get our figures.
I think
we're being catered to.
The topic came around like when you said, obviously, with Hasbro saying they weren't doing no more movies, and also at the same time, Transformers Reactivate got shut down as well, and then everybody went into a massive fit of is Transformers declining, and I don't think that at all, because I know Transformers did do well. Transformers 1, didn't do well at the box office, but it is doing well on streaming services. With what TFW 2005 was saying other day, but I think streaming services now, and I think Sam touched about it in the chat. I think streaming services now, like cinema, isn't what it used to be. Like,
massively.
Craic said about Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction both made $1 billion. There was streaming services weren't as popular back then, whereas now, obviously, Transformers 1 made 100 million or whatever it did at the box office. And a lot of people seem to be watching it more on the streaming service than they were at the cinema. So, and like Lee said, with the cost of living, with a lot more things becoming your priority, people would rather, watch it at home than go to the cinema and pay however it is for a ticket now. So,
yeah. No, I think that's absolutely right, particularly around streaming services. Go on, Lee.
Hasbro and Takara have shown that they've got confidence in the brand. If you look at the products that are coming out, you've still got a full lineup of Chug. We've got a full lineup. We've still got lots of Masterpiece figures coming out. Takara is expanding their product lineup with T-Spark and this Meshima line. So they're putting out more products again. And also, if you look at the boys' toys market, particularly from Hasbro's point of view, you've got Marvel, you've got Star Wars, and you've got Transformers. Marvel and Star Wars, Hasbro has to pay a license and doesn't have complete creative control over both of those lines. They own Transformers pretty much 100%. So every bit of revenue they generate from that line goes straight into the bank.
Straight back, yeah. So why would that one be in decline when it's the one they have sole control over?
Yeah, He-Man and Thundercats aren't challenging Transformers for their market share, so who is?
Oh, not even true. Yeah, absolutely. I will, to be devil's advocate, you mentioned there about chug lines and everything that we've got coming out, and we'll touch on that in a bit as well. What about HasLab? We're hearing that the Omega Prime's being delayed now. Is what we're hearing.
Yeah, we're hearing a rumor. We don't know where the rumors come from, and we don't know what the delay relates to.
But we know it has gone quiet at the same time as well. It could just be a factory. Did we?
I think
was it just a show off on one of their streams?
I'm not sure, but it's coming. We've paid for it. They have to deliver.
Yeah, they do.
So I'm not worried. Yeah, we might have to wait a bit for it, but it is coming. And there's another HasLab being announced in February. So
is that going to Transformer HasLab, or is that just could it be Marvel or anything else?
I think it's a Transformer.
Oh, is it? Okay, I'll keep my eyes out.
I mean, people are thinking it's animated Omega Supreme, which
I would be 100% down for more animated, especially in Omega Supreme.
Yeah, nice one. All right, well, okay, I think we've kind of put this one to bed. We don't believe Transformers is in decline, and the chat have more or less agreed because they know we are good people. Fine, we'll move on to another negative topic, I'm afraid, but a somewhat of a light-hearted negative topic, because we've all done, in one form or another, our top pickups of the year, top 5s, top 10s of 2024. But I thought, just for a little bit of difference, what's been your worst pickup of 2024? Just say, not tongue in cheek, not going to, bash on negativity. I'll tell you what, I'll go first and get mine out of the way. And for anyone who probably knows, it's this bloody thing. So this is Magic Square's Masterpiece Scale Swindle. Yeah, it's a transformation that just killed it for me. It just and it broke, and something else is broken as well. Sod it, I don't like it. It's a very good looking Swindle. Brawl is better, and I think when I first saw the product shots, I just thought, oh wow, this looks really good. I can't get over as well how dull he comes across, and I know he's a mustard yellow. Mustard's not exactly a vibrant color, but the product shots made him look very vibrant. Obviously, they've been edited and touched up or whatever. And when I got him, I was a bit like, oh. And his face, he's got this very sort of dark purple, and he's black and purple. You can't really make out the face. And by the time I did the transformation and I had the breakage, which wasn't a huge piece and was probably me, but by the end of it, I was just like, oh, okay, I'm done. I'll go back to Brawl. Brawl, I just enjoyed more. But that was mine. A lot of people like it. I mean, he looks like Brum from the front, so that's pretty cool. But man, it's a frustrating.
I haven't seen him yet in hand. My brother's got him. I borrowed his Brawl and photographed him, and I thought it was excellent. So I'm a bit disappointed to hear that that it might not be the same standard. I think your brother, I spoke to about, I think he likes it, and I think people do. I'm not wild on it for a couple of reasons, and then I just didn't enjoy the transformation. And as I said as well, this is a rectangle. That's not complicated. It's not a space shuttle. It's not Astro Train, is it? That shouldn't be difficult. But I took like a photo of it, like mid-transformation with all the panels hanging out, like it's just exploded from the inside. And I'm just like, oh, good Lord. But yeah, that was mine through my own annoyance. But throw it up to you guys. What was your worst pickup or your least best?
Go on. Go.
I was quite careful last year. One of the reasons I split my top 10 video into 5 pickups, older figures, and 5 new figures is because I was quite careful with what I bought. I didn't just buy a load of stuff and then go, oh, I might as well sell this now because it's been a couple of months. I honestly don't think I picked up anything last year that I didn't like. So I think I'm going to have to be really boring. You've got to pick something. There has to be de facto something your least
wasn't as satisfying as you thought it would be.
Right, you're gonna have to come back to me then. I'll sit back and have a think for a few minutes.
Just turn around. They're all behind you.
Ooh, I'm not sure about that. But yeah, okay, come back to me.
All right. Anyone else? Brandon, Lee?
I was the complete opposite because I've got my list of 2024 purchases in front of me. Between official and third-party figures, I acquired 471 Transformers last year.
Bloody hell, man.
And I loved every single one of them. The only thing I was disappointed with...
Have you two misunderstood the question?
Well, I can't not like a Transformer.
No way you're bringing that one down.
You don't
What-
become
I didn't see that.
Legacy
What's he just
big
picked up?
and fill it with stuff you don't love. But my big disappointment.
No,
was getting
You're
this-
joking.
No,
It's
listen.
like my second favourite figure of the year.
Disappointed because I got it and it was broken in the box.
Oh, okay.
You did have trouble. Yes, yes.
We'll-
yes,
we'll
I
allow it.
remember.
And
Yeah.
I have recently received the replacement part and fixed it, and I absolutely love him. He's brilliant. So
Yeah, I remember you
My
saying the
heart
trouble
sank.
you had with that.
my
Yeah.
heart sank when I got it, and there was a problem with it because it meant I couldn't try the combine mode. It was a wobbly in robot mode. But now it's come out like that. I mean, if you want a figure that I wasn't as happy with as I thought I might be, Legacy Strip
Go on.
Slipstream. Bit too basic. Slipstream always gets shafted with new toys, unfortunately.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But yes. But yeah, I take that hotspot. I do really like it, but when you had the particular type of QC, I think we'll say it as you had, it was such like to the spine of the figure that really
What was the issue with
hindered you.
it?
The little clip on the back of the leg that holds the leg in place, it was broken, so it just flapped around and the leg wouldn't lock. I had to take the entire leg apart, layer by layer,
You sent me
to put
photos.
it back and then push it back together again. So it wasn't a little job fixing it either.
No, it
I
sounds
don't
like that.
think your average Transformers fan would have been able to do that.
Look, Nip's not liking blockies for some reason. Nips, what's wrong?
Ooh.
with
Can
you?
you
Good
not
lord.
like Blockies?
How can you not?
Blockies!
Get out, Nips, get out. Brandon, talk some sense. What was your least favourite pickup of 2024?
I like our Craic is looking around the room to
Yeah.
I'm going to give him time, but not
I have
long.
a definitive answer though now. I do have a definitive
All
answer.
right.
'Cause I was just having to remind myself what I got last year.
Okay, all right.
When it was X-Transbot's Death Wish G2.
Anything
Which one's
extra spots is automatically the worst thing you bought.
Well, no, because
That's unkind.
There's
I'm
X-Transbot.
sorry.
Kind.
You're not going to
Extra
convince me
box.
that your big dump or whatever he's called is the your best figure ever.
He,
You know what I'm
he
saying?
is a brilliant figure. Can you stop? I want this to be lighthearted. You just drag it into the negativity. I know X-Transbots try very hard to have a bad reputation.
Well, I bought the G2 Dead End. I bought all of the G2 bots from the Stunticons, and the leg fell off, two of them, the same leg at the same point. One of them I bought off someone in robot mode, and the leg broke in transit, and the pelvis shattered. And then I was like, right, well, I've got the rest of them. I'll buy it again off Omega Lock, who were fantastic with aftercare, by the way. And it came in car mode, and I shot it in car mode, and I went to transform it, and I was transforming the arms, and his leg just literally dropped off from the same point into my lap, and I was like, how? And it's connected by this tiny little circular peg inside, and when they've redone the mold again as G2, it's too thick, I think. But I went on the forums, and apparently it's a common issue that his right leg will just randomly fall off. So I've currently got all the
X-Transbot collectors online
except
because
him.
they gather together because they love X-Transbots, and all they do is complain about the quality.
Oh, honestly, I think I was really cross about that because I've had it, arrived broke, bought it again brand new. Literally the same leg fell off as I was transforming him. So now on my little G2 masterpiece shelf, I've got all the Stunticons except him, which is a bit annoying because he looks really pretty.
Maybe you should stop buying Stunticons. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I just have.
Go on, Brandon. What's your worst?
So with the figures I
Or
buy,
your
I
least
don't-
favourite?
yeah, well, that's what I mean. So this actually appeared on my top 10, but you'll probably know which one it is. And I think it appeared on your live stream last time. Well, there we go. It's
I can hear it, so I know which
falling
one
to
it is.
bits already. But again, this is again, I absolutely love it. But I think this is probably the worst experience I've had with a product. Craic knows this, I believe, because I think you've got the 3.0 Soundwave.
Yes,
The Bumblebee
one.
So when you get 3.0 products, they come obviously with the robot mode, and you just take it out the box. With Jetfire, because he's that big, you have to build him up. And because I bought mine pre-owned at TF Nation, it didn't come with the instructions to build him up. So I've had to basically freewheel
scratch.
building him up. And as you heard, I've just picked him up now, and he just drops to bits all the time. And again, I love this piece. I think it's brilliant, but
Screen accurate then.
it is screen accurate. And like I said last time, he dropped apart in the movies, but when you're picking him up, and honestly, it's a nightmare. Like just trying to you grab his leg and put like his chest piece on, and then another piece will fall off. And again, I can't wait to display this in a cabinet or something, because when I'm trying to move it around the house,
Never touch it again.
I am never ever touching this thing again, honestly. There we go, another piece has fell off. But I also have another thing. So as people know, I collect sealed Bayverse, and I actually said to I have a good relationship with the guy who I buy from. So he said to me, I said, "Oh, can I buy Revenge of the Fallen long haul?" And he said, "Yeah." Obviously, it was sealed, or he thought it was sealed, and I bought him, and it's loose. So yeah, that's probably the worst experience of 2024 when I've made a purchase. So that was a lot of money down the drain. However, he did repay me back with another figure from the collection. So I guess it's a win, really.
There you go. I mean, it's a hard thing to ask someone, because why would you buy something you don't like? But I mean, this thing, right? So let's go on to some more lighter news then. Transformers anticipation for 2025. What are you most looking forward to, Transformers related, for the year after the 40th anniversary of Transformers? So, Lee, let's start with you. What are you most looking forward to for this year, Transformers wise?
Well, we've had the leaked list, haven't we, of what to expect as far as new figures coming out. So there's a lot of stuff on there that I'm really looking forward to. Nothing specific. I'll just take it as it comes. I mean, if we look a little bit further ahead, we've got the 40th anniversary of the movie next year, and I don't know whether the HasLab. Well, if it's going to be animated Omega Supreme, that HasLab isn't going to tie in at all with the anniversary of the movie. Maybe we'll get a movie-themed HasLab next year. But I think I'm looking forward to it just winding down a little bit, because last year was really full on. And it was great as far as community goes, because we all got to see each other a lot more than we would have done otherwise. But I think a quieter year where there's not so much hysteria around every little thing that's going on, just being able to sit back and enjoy the hobby for a little while, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, because we are in this kind of, well, it felt like last year being the 40th year. This year will have to be quieter by comparison, because you can't just ramp up. Where does it end? But for 40 years was obviously going to be big. And people might think that it's a bit of a dud 2025 in comparison, but then there has to be a cool off. And as you say, for 2026 will be 40 years since the 1986 film. So this will probably be a quieter year. I think, what am I looking forward to? I mean, Sam said Fans Toys Dead End. Sam, they're not finishing that, mate. They're just put a pin in it. That ain't happening. But
you said that about your unique Transformers Abominus last year, didn't you?
The TFC one, yeah. I mean, I put it up on the sales group and then got it down pronto when they finally released Hunger. But it's actually got to come out first. I ain't counting my chickens. I'm looking forward to conventions. I'm thinking what else, and it's going to tie into another question, so I don't want to go a bit too mad. There's a couple of Fans Toys figures. I'm interested to see what the new Galvatron's like. I'm interested to see where Blockies go, because they're just throwing stuff out left, right, and centre.
Beast Wars Blockies. We're going to manifest it. It's going to happen.
Oh man, you're plucking my heartstrings there.
I'm yet to
like the Defender versions where they have the alt modes and the bot modes. That would be brilliant for Beast Wars, wouldn't it?
That'd be fantastic. See, listen to this Beast Wars chat. This is great. This is why I'm here. Well, I'm here. It's my channel. Where else would I be? What else? Missing Link figures. We could get. I think that's going to ramp up. I can admire Missing Link. I've got the Sentinel Prime, as you can just see there, and it's utterly fabulous. But I'm interested to see. Oh, he's so wee. He's so tiny.
Tiny. little guy.
Tiny boy. I think it'd be interesting to see when that Sunstreaker comes out, just what they can do and if they go down the RC route. But I think I agree with you, Lee. I think a cool-off year makes a lot of sense as to what we got. But I am interested to see what the Generations line does with combiners again, because I think I'm ready to go back to combiners in one form or another.
I mean, we've got Bruticus coming after Superion, haven't we? My money would be on Defensor next. It's who they do after Defensor that's going to be the big discussion.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Phil, what do you reckon, mate?
I'm looking forward to completing the MMC Protector bots.
Nice. One more to go.
Because Groove, I wasn't sure at first. I thought he felt a bit like the weakest of the set, but actually it's such a hard character to get right, and a hard design to get right, and they've nailed it. I'm looking forward to the MMC Constructicons, possibly get the first one of them next year. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that one of those would have been out by now.
Definitely Sovereign 2.0. The more I look at that, the more I can't wait for it. Just again, give it an ab crunch like it's got, and that's it. I'm sold. A bit more posability, but it's going to be hard if I decide to sell the original or the movie version of Sovereign, because it's such a good figure. I've just booked the Manchester Minicon today, as I was saying to you before we came on, and I wasn't going to go. And I was going to give it a miss and just do.
And you convinced yourself in 2 days to go.
And yeah, I just thought, you know what, life's too short to not do fun things. And I thought, well, I could take my son, so I'm going with my 12-year-old, and we're going to have a lovely time in Manchester for 2 nights. And yeah, buy some Transformers, see some people. It's going to be lovely. So I'd say, the cons and those figures are probably my most anticipated, and probably Megatronus Prime as well, because he looks absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that does look pretty decent, doesn't it? Brandon, what about you, mate? What are you mostly looking forward to, Transformers related?
For some reason this year, I'm actually a lot more excited for Transformers than I have been for a while. I'm looking forward to seeing what more studio series stuff there is to be released in the year. I'm really happy that we've got some Age of Extinction figures, because they seem to have died down with it last couple of years. I don't think there was any studio series figures at all last year. I think there was just the Mohawk, and it was on the core class. So I'm really happy that they've gone back to the Bayverse, so that's nice. I'm really looking forward to the Transformers trips this year. Again, it's going to be my first time at Manchester TF Nation, so I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm hoping to go to Comic-Con with Russ if he's still there. We're hoping to go to Comic-Con again in May. Obviously, there's TF Nation, TF UK Con, so I'm really looking forward to that. And also, if they do another one in Reading, I'm hoping to attend that as well later in the year. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the trips this year and seeing everybody again. So that's something that's probably the most thing I'm definitely looking forward to. And then obviously, behind me, I'm just looking forward to getting some more things for my collection.
Yeah, you got a bit too much wall there, Brandon. I think you need to fill in some of that wall.
I've just been, it takes a lot of planning, to be fair. So as you can see there, I've just recently got a poster. So this is my Transformers 1 section. And then you see me Revenge of the Fallen stuff. That'll be my Transformers 2. And then behind me will be my Transformers 3. So the first 3 movies will be going in this room. What's that, sorry?
Do you collect loose as well, or is it just sealed?
Yeah, I collect loose. I don't think I have any loose things around. I have this. So I do collect loose. I do try to go for sometimes. So like when I complete a collection, I like to make a retrospective. So I've got the complete collection of the Last Night Deluxes now, and I've nearly got them all loose as well. So I'm hoping to, obviously, as you can see there, obviously have the carded stuff and stuff on the walls, and then maybe in cabinets have, if I can get my hands on them at a convention or a toy fair, which I like going to as well, maybe put them in a cabinet.
Yes, yeah. I mean, do well to get some of the glass cabinets now that have surprisingly become scarce because IKEA have stopped making them now. And if anyone is wondering where they've gone, they're all behind Phil. He's got rows of going up and down his house. But yeah, and, I think the conventions. I mean, I'm so looking forward to it. I did TF Nation Minicon in Reading, my first Minicon, and I was just saying before we went live, I really like that it just broke up the year. Didn't have to wait till August because August is great. Big TF Nation's fabulous, but having the mini gathering kind of tides you over, gets you there. Lee, are you doing Manchester, mate?
No. I think the only convention I'm going to be doing this year is the big TF Nation. Because I'm trying to finish off my studio so I can get my YouTube going, which I'm aiming to get my first video out before TF Nation, the big one.
Nice.
So next year I'm going to try and do more mini cons, definitely be a TF UK con, but this year I'm just going to have to restrict myself to the main one.
Okay, fair enough. Right, let's go arguably back onto a negative topic. Reactivate, deactivate. So you may have heard me say once or twice this was being made in my hometown. And I would walk past where it was being made and knock on the door and say, "Let me in, I'd like to have a look." And they tell me to go away. So it's obviously not happening.
Stop making it.
Shut up.
Because they keep pestering them to
moving on. Anyway, you won't see these two on here again. But it's obviously not happening. Now there's a lot of rumour. There's a lot of, but fact is it's not happening anymore. Splash Damage have canned it, citing reasons that it's out of money. And I saw a comment on Facebook. It's the curse of Transformers video games, and can't really argue with that. As we've said before, probably when you were all last on. Lee, I know you've spoken about it when you've been on a few times. That video games and Transformers, they're few and far between anyway, much less something else just coming along fresh. And where I think we possibly have all said it, but the toys came out for the designs ahead of what was going to be the game's release. And then the game gets canned. And that is something that just doesn't sit right with me. How can the production and everything for hard sales, physical sales, still go ahead and toys being generated if the money dries up on what is the actual driving force, if you see what I mean?
What's even stranger is that Studio Series they've reissued Bumblebee last month.
Yeah.
They're reissuing the Optimus, aren't they?
No, that is weird.
Yeah, but you're two separate companies doing two separate things. So Reactivate is a video game development, and these things take years and lots of money. And whatever they're doing is going to be at least separate from what Hasbro's got planned. So if they're saying to Hasbro, we expect to release in this quarter, Hasbro will begin its development process for the figures to come out in that quarter.
Yeah.
And I don't know for certain, but I imagine that they did have to hold back on the release of Reactivate figures they did have for as long as they could, because they needed to get a return on the investment into R&D and production for those figures. Even though the game wasn't ready, their accountants were saying, "Well, you've got this capsule. When are we going to see a return on it?" So out it came. But designing an action figure, if it's say Hasbro's working 2 years ahead, that's nothing compared to a video game, which can be a decade or so before it's ready to go out. So I think when you're talking about Reactivate, you just don't bring Hasbro into it, because Hasbro have licensed the game to Splash Damage, and from that point on, it's Splash Damage's responsibility to produce something with it.
I get that, and that's fine. The only thing I'm thinking is, whilst you're right, it's down to Splash Damage to deliver. They kind of won the contract, if you like, to deliver on it. Would it not be in Hasbro's interest to not fund it, but to ensure it's being delivered, because it pays Hasbro back no end?
How's Hasbro going to do that if it's not putting its hand in its pocket? Look at the reason that. Look at TF1. Hasbro didn't pay for TF1. They paid for a chunk of it, but they had other investors paying for the majority of the film. And now they're saying, we're not going to do that. We're not going to fund movies for our properties. They're not saying they're not going to be any more movies. They're just saying that somebody else has to take on the risk. And looking at what happened at Reactivate, who blames them? because it's just a big
Yeah.
pit of money. And the problem with a Transformers video game, back when the movies came out, we had a lot of movie-based games that came out whilst the films were out. They would have had a very tight development schedule, which is why a lot of them aren't all that good. Like many movie tying video games throughout history. Something like War and Fall of Cybertron or Devastation obviously had a longer development period because they weren't tied to a specific thing that was happening. So anyone who wants to make a Transformers game is going to have to either go evergreen, go G1, or make something up out scratch. And then that's not being held back by any deadline that's been imposed by Hasbro.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good point. It's why we kind of, those games you've mentioned, we kind of resonate to them because they didn't have any constraints to work to, which is fine. The same can be said though of Reactivate, but then obviously Splash Damage ran into their own problems. That wasn't working to a TV series. That wasn't working to a toy line as such, although toys came out alongside it, but it wasn't like Age of the Primes where we are now. And then you could understand.
Before. This isn't the first time this has happened. Transformers Online back in the 90s. I did actually get to play that, although my PC wasn't really geared up to it. That was a lot of fun because that was aligned continuity. So it was adjacent to things like Prime, but it still had its own designs and its own little timeline. And that was really good. But again, it didn't generate the income to keep it going. So it eventually got shut down. And it's trying to find a niche in an already overcrowded market for live service multiplayer games.
Yeah. And I think if rumors are to be true, I did see this on TFW that someone posted. I don't know how they came across it, but a particular high financial investor in this effectively took the money and ran. I don't know the person and I don't know how much money they took, but that possibly led to the downfall. That might well be the case, and it might be the nail in the coffin, but there was delays throughout and there wasn't anything being delivered at E3 or any other kind of gaming conventions coming up when you were looking for updates. I mean, there was something, was it effectively a press release from Hasbro saying, oh, that's still happening, maybe when they did their timeline or roadmap, saying like, oh yeah, it was still happening. That's about as much as we got.
It's Phil, Brandon, isn't it? You've got one guy whose ego takes over the whole project, and you've got all these people working really hard underneath trying to get the thing to happen. But actually, it's already dead because the guy who's got the power for it to happen has already scarpered.
Yeah, I'm afraid so. Phil, Brandon, any thoughts on this or video game related?
You should knock on Splash Damage's door and ask what happened.
I can knock on the door all they like. I don't think anyone's going to answer it. Although I do keep walking past and they've still got the big Statue of Liberty image in their reception. And I keep kind of like, let me in.
I just think it's a shame. It's a shame because Devastation was amazing. And you saw what could happen when someone puts a bit of love into it. And obviously we'll never know what Reactivate would have been like as a playable game. And I love seeing new takes on what's a familiar brand and familiar characters, like the Starscream, where he was like patchwork made out of other people, was awesome. I love the Soundwave design, and I just think it's a shame that we'll not get to see another vision for it. Just we're crying out for more good Transformers games, aren't we? I don't think last year is gonna plug the gap.
I we're at the mercy of the video games industry because High Moon, who did War for Cybertron, Full Cybertron, don't exist anymore because video game companies are constantly being bought and sold, and the moment they're bought by a big name, they make everyone redundant because they were just removing competition from the market. If it's going to be done, then the company has to survive long enough for the thing to actually come out. The moment they get picked up by somebody else, then that project is on the chopping block. Unless Hasbro wants to be more financially involved in something like that, they're not going to have the power to make sure it comes out.
which you think they wouldn't do based on their decision after Transformers 1 with the
Yeah.
film, and kind of effectively want to distancing themselves. Which
We're
is
going to have to be satisfied with running around as Optimus Prime in Fortnite, I'm afraid, and not transform.
and we do, and we do, very much do. Brandon, sorry, mate, you were going to say something there.
So obviously, when the trailer came out for Reactivate, everybody thought it was it Doom? Everybody didn't think it was Transformers, and then obviously when we got the whole synopsis of the whole game, it sounded really interesting. And then obviously the designs came out. We had like a jacked up G1 Optimus Prime. I think looks awesome. I actually have the Reactivate figures, and I think it does it justice as well. All the designs look really, really cool. And then obviously we got the menu leaks, and not long ago we got the gameplay leaks. And I think it could have been a really, really good game. And I think what I think Transformers will probably do in the future is do something that Marvel Rivals is doing now. So Marvel Rivals is like an Overwatch type game. But I think what one of my favorite things about Marvel Rivals is, and I wish they did this for Transformers games, is if you go to the store, obviously when you're looking at it as a money making thing, when you go to the store of Marvel Rivals, you can pick different versions of Iron Man. So you can pick Avengers Endgame Iron Man, you can pick the comics Iron Man, and I think that would be awesome for Transformers. For example, you could go to the store and buy Transformers Prime Optimus, or G1 Optimus, or Bayverse Optimus, or maybe some of the toy designs like Nightwatch Optimus. I think that would be absolutely awesome. And again, I think with good gameplay and little ideas like that, I think we could genuinely have a really, really good Transformers game. It's just like Craic said, it's a real shame, especially knowing that they were basically nearly done with the game, and it's been in development for like 7 years or wherever it's been. And it's definitely a disappointment, but I think everybody expected it as well. And I think it kept getting delayed, and then they wanted to update the whole software onto Engine 5, which is the more modern software for gaming, and everybody was like, "Oh, okay, this is going good." And then one of the Hasbro guys said last year, nothing's getting released this year, but we will in 2024. And then there was another statement saying we're not doing anything until 2025. And I think everybody lost hope. So I don't think it's a massive shock that Reactivate's been cancelled, but it is upsetting, to be fair.
Yeah,
but now that it is cancelled, the playing field has been cleared. So if somebody else wants to now take on a Transformers project, they're not competing with anybody. No,
but it does kind of kill your hope, doesn't it? When someone was pretty close to getting done, because that's the thing that Brandon just touched on there. We saw some stills like coming out of like gameplay footage of like Bumblebee like kneeling down and talking to you, and it was just like, all right, so you had something. You definitely had something going. You were dialogue, cutscenes, whatever else, and I'm like, and you brought up, of course, High Moon. We hark back to those games, and
if they came out again, which they're pre-order on the marketplaces. If we could finally get them out again with the multiplayer intact, that would keep us going for ages while we wait for another game. Because that was one of my most favourite Transformers video game experiences. The Fall of Cybertron multiplayer.
That was good.
There was
very,
was
very good.
back, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were listed in the stores for PlayStation and Xbox.
Xbox, yeah, I saw that. I mean, it kind of falls into the too good to be true category for me a little bit. But I said this before, and I feel like I'm repeating myself. It just like feels to me that Hasbro don't care about the game market, the video game market. That is.
Well, we have mobile games now instead of console games.
Yeah.
I think one of the most
cheaper and easier.
I think the most upsetting thing for me is the fact that I think behind Reactivate there was some passionate people. I mean, in a statement I think that was released, I don't know if it was last year or a year before, one of the lines, and I remember it was something like, "We are wanting to deliver the best Transformers game that we can make." hence why one of the excuses was obviously we want to make the best game, hence why we're delaying it to make sure it's perfect for when it does get released. So I do genuinely believe that there were some people that genuinely really cared about making a good game. It's just unfortunate that it's obviously crumbled to the ground.
Yeah, and if it ends up with layoff, my heart goes out to the people who work at Splash Damage. I mean, I'd say this as well, is I would see them walking around town. They had like their branded clothing, just sort of fewer and fewer people walking around. Like you'd see them on their lunch breaks, and it was just like you used to go out and gaggles, and then now is like 3 of you. So yeah, big sympathy if that is the case. Okay, well, let's try and make this a bit upbeat, shall we? Next Hasbro project. What's going to be the next thing? So, okay, bit vague. Let me summarize. We can include HasLab in this, but we can somewhat put it separately. What is going to be, if we're thinking Transformers trading card games, the Transformers store appeared, what's kind of going to be Hasbro's next direction with Transformers then? What are they going to focus on as the big... I'm thinking as well with TV series or anything like that. Skybound is coming to the end of its comic run, but I imagine going to continue beyond it with different writers. But where do you think Hasbro is going to take Transformers next? What's going to be the driving force behind it?
Well, we know Chuck's going to stay strong. Jack's going to poodle along without any problems. I really want to see what Cyber World eventually turns into and whether that's actually going to be popular. Because if that is popular, then maybe we'll get 3 years of that where they're actually releasing a show and they're releasing figures and the figures are available to buy, unlike Earthspark where there's next to nothing and it wasn't available when the show was popular. I think Takara is going to be the one that's going to surprise us because they've given us Missing Link, they've given us the Machinima line. They're revamping Masterpiece, which hasn't really picked up speed yet because it looks like they're just releasing tail end things for Masterpiece rather than new stuff that's specifically for Masterpiece Gatai. We've got crossovers in the T-Spark line. So yeah, I think Hasbro's just going to poodle along, not going to be anything surprising, just going to play it safe. Maybe we'll hear about some exciting new video game from their new CEO before the year's out. But I think Takara's the one to watch because they've gone from being quite happy from just re-releasing Hasbro's products to now having the confidence to put out more of their own stuff again, like the days of the 2000s and the early 2010s.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I noticed Russ mentioned in the comments earlier, he said, you've got to see what Hasbro have got coming for this year later on. So I like to think stuff will be cooking. I'm trying to think, though, thinking of the market as it is, I think it will be a little while till we hear a film, but I think we will hear another film in time. I think it's going to be largely
G.I. Joe crossover film coming.
Well, is that still
yeah, the rumor is that that might not even see a cinema, which you think they would go down that route, but I do think Transformers 1 has scared them off. And I don't say that to bash the film. I think it's a brilliant film.
Especially when a live action film is 200 million compared to, I think, 80 million, which the Transformers 1 budget was. That, like you said, that's going to be a massive scare if they're seeing the numbers of Transformers 1, definitely.
Yeah. And I think they will go back to films, but not for a while yet. And as Lee said, Chug's going to just keep going on. But with Takara, yeah, perhaps. I do wonder about HasLab. I'll say this: I've never backed a HasLab product. I've always felt it's a bit risky. I always felt it could fall through, and then you're very much like if you wanted to get a Chug figure, you put in a pre-order and you get it. Worst case is it's delayed. But you'll generally get it en masse because they're made en masse. But the HasLab stuff, I feel there is a it's like investing your money. There's a risk involved. But
I disagree.
I thought you might.
I'll let you finish, and then I'll tell you why.
No. I couldn't possibly anger you further.
The thing is, Hasbro's already done the R&D for their HasLabs at the point they're asking for you to make a pre-order. None of the HasLabs that have been funded have failed to materialize. So we haven't got any worry about that, because I'm pretty sure once Hasbro puts Hasbro puts the order in, they're contractually obligated from that point onwards to deliver. They're contractually obligated to pay the factory to produce the thing. So you might as well just get it out and not have all the bad press, because the moment they don't deliver on one HasLab, every other HasLab that they're ever going to do has that risk that you're talking about as a real and tangible thing that has happened. And as far as Transformers HasLabs go, all of them are funded. By the time they've hit the deadline, even if it was extended a little bit, like with Unicron, they've all funded. They're not like Marvel or Star Wars, where they have failed very publicly to reach their target. So as far as HasLabs go, I'm confident that they're safe.
No, fair enough. Phil, Brandon, HasLab, any interest to you, either of you?
I kind of regret, in a way, not ordering the last one, but then also it would have been ridiculously expensive for what I would get out of it. So yeah, at the moment, there's not been anything which I've felt like I've had to order from them. But then also I saw Deathsaurus in hand at TFN, and it looked incredible. In terms of the next Hasbro project, I don't pretend to know what they're going to do, but I can tell you what I'd like to see. Is I'd love to see some like we get some of the G1 reissues. I'd love to see some animated reissues, although I know that's a niche market really compared to G1. But I'd love to see some animated reissues, especially some of the harder to get things like Blackout, because I'm destined to never own that.
There's a Blackout in my local nerd shop.
Oh, yeah? How much is that?
£300, which is about average for a Blackout.
I was going to say,
be a little careful when Lee says that.
recently. I've talked when we're saying about video games. We sort of said that the fighting game was an app, and one of my favorite games at the moment's a phone app, which is Marvel Snap. Like, I'd love to see something just simple, but it knows the concept. Like, one of the best things about Snap's how the cards interact with the characters and how they interact with each other. And I'd love to see something that simple, a concept, but deep in execution applied to Transformers as well.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I did play a bit of Marvel Rivals, as Brandon mentioned, and I could see a very similar thing being done for Transformers very easily, because that kind of Overwatch or even a Fortnite style game is kind of where the money's at, really, is where people's interests are.
Transformers Online, the Japanese game, did something similar to Overwatch, where again you could choose different versions of Bumblebee, for example. I think that were really cool.
Yeah. I think. I mean, I played. What was the one I played? Oh god, it's like a strategy tower defense one that came out not that long ago, and I was playing that for a while. Completely forgotten the name of it. But I played that on the iPad. That was pretty decent. But I find with tablet games or phone games, they're just too short lived. And
is it Balloons Towers Defense?
Do you know Snap?
Not that I remember. No.
Do you know Marvel Snap, the game?
I don't. No.
It's a card deck builder. So I don't know, it holds my attention because they keep releasing new cards which interact with the other ones, and you build new decks based on your new cards.
It's a glorified Premier League sticker album. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but I don't get any.
I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm okay.
That sounds interesting, to be fair.
I do get shiny versions though. But
they're
yeah,
not real.
They keep
They're
refreshing it all the time, so it doesn't get stale.
I sell Magic the Gathering cards for a living, and I think they're nah. I'd much prefer plastic things to bits of paper.
Shout out to the Magic the Gathering fans who are watching us tonight.
You do not represent the company.
I've got some black pudding down in front of the shop. Can't say I care for the taste of it.
Black pudding is lovely. We're getting a bit off topic here. But anyway, I think, for next Hasbro, I think it actually is going to go into a little bit of my next question, which I might as well get on to now. Age of the Primes. This is the toy line, really, that we're working to now. Why? This is my problem with it. Okay, it's like I actually feel War for Cybertron, Netflix, Siege, whatever, it made sense. It was by no means a brilliant show, and Megatron had lips and looked stupid, but I think it made a lot of sense. Like, it was an accompanying story and releases, and okay, Skylinks appeared because why not? And he's gone, but buy his toy. I did. He's up there. But it's like it made sense to me. So, Legacy and Age of the Primes. Why is it a thing? Why is it a banner? Why is it? It's to hub things. It's to give windows. But why is it Age of the Primes? Other than we're getting 13 primes, it's just more chug.
It's easy because they were expecting TF1 to be more popular, and they were going to capitalize on the primes being in the public consciousness.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And
I mean,
a lot of these characters haven't had toys before, so rather than give us our umpteenth Starscream, Megatron, Soundwave, we're actually getting a toy of somebody that we've not had a decent representation of. And if you're a long-term collector and you've got, I'll take an example, I've got over 160 Optimus Prime toys. I don't need another one. But if you offer me...
Have you actually got 160 Optimus Prime toys? I'm genuinely asking.
More than 160. I just don't know what exact number it is.
How big is your house?
I made it bigger. I built extra rooms onto it.
Yeah, they're made out of
the videos you can do for your new channel is amazing.
Yeah,
if you've got
home improvement
primes,
but I haven't got a Quintus Prime, and I haven't got a Liege Maximo, and apart from that tiny Prime Master, before the pedants in the chat have a go at me, I'm looking forward to having
shout
that.
out everyone in the chat.
But alongside that, yeah, you have got familiar characters. So no, I'm really excited for Age of the Primes. I don't mind the repaints we're getting because a lot of people are really excited for this new Triptychon. Even though Triptychon is a weird shape and doesn't fit on a shelf properly, and now we've got to find space for two.
That's not even a first world problem, Lee. Come on, meet me halfway here. But I mean, that Triptychon it looks good, but I'm actually not a fan of the mold. I think it's a bit of it could be better when you compare it to other Titans, personally. Plus, I've already got the best Triptychon, don't I, Lee?
Yes, you do.
Thank you
Hasbro, why didn't you repaint it as Gigastorm? When's my Titan class Gigastorm coming?
I didn't invite you on to have a rant at Hasbro, but maybe I did. I don't.
I've been very kind to Hasbro. I've been protecting them from the rest of you.
True enough.
I'm the corporate shield.
You are as well, Phil. What do you recommend? What Age of the Primes as a theme? Does it make any difference on the end of Legacy United into Age of Primes?
It's 100% what Lee said in terms of the expected people to care who the primes were after Transformers 1, and it just didn't take off like they wanted it to. My opinion before was that I thought Legacy was a strong enough brand to just have Legacy and sublines, and Legacy could become the new generations, and then new toys could be released in, say, Earthspark, and then after a while they could make a Legacy toy of that, in generations it could have been the new branding. But so they could have had, say, Transformers, Legacy, the Age of the Primes line, and carried on under that and built it up as a brand. But yeah, I don't really know if any of the names bother me. I'm sure it'll be like every other toy line where there's some I want, some I'll get, some I regret not getting, and some I'll buy and sell. So more toys for people who want them. More toys for people who want them. And if I don't want them, great, someone else will, and they'll be very happy about it.
Exactly.
But I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
What about you, Brandon? Any thoughts?
I think that what you just said there, Craic. I can't wait to see what they're going to do. I think that's what I can't wait to see, what Hasbro do as a whole as well. Because as Lee mentioned earlier, with a lot of things now with Hasbro, it's like a clean slate. So with the movies, with the games, I think it's like, and like you said earlier, how this year is going to be like a die down year where it's going to be a little bit flat. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see what things we're going to be getting. What is there going to be another movie? Could there be any more games? They're trying the new the Prime's Age of the Prime, toy line, and I actually didn't think of that actually, but it does make sense. You know, the in Transformers 1, one of the main focuses was the whole Primes, and I never realized that actually. So that's actually quite a smart comment. But I will say I agree with what you said actually, Craic, where you say if there's some that you like, some that you don't. I am trying my very best to stay away from other toy lines other than the movies. But I saw the primer get released, how you can put the Matrix on the sword and it looks like it lights up. Love it, and I think I might have to get it.
If you're tempted now, you're probably always going to be tempted. That's the
my problem. When the Legacy Shard
willpower out the window.
When the Legacy Shard got released, I absolutely loved the crystal design type thing on it, and I think it looked amazing. So again, I kind of only from other lines. I always try and buy figures that I really like, and I think lately Hasbro have done some decent figures again. I'm really interested in the primer that's going to be released.
I don't doubt that Age of the Primes is going to be a good way to carry it forward, but like Phil said, it's like, you know, it doesn't matter if it all stays under Legacy or not. It's just a continuation of new toys. And okay, it's themed around the Primes, I take that, but it's a bit like, well, if it's doing well, just keep on releasing them. And that's when I kind of think back of, I like the structure of the War for Cybertron series. I like that it had encompassing shows and a format to it, and a reason to introduce, until Kingdom came around and butchered my beloved Beast Wars, so never mind. So that's all I kind of have to say on it, really. But yeah, it's going to happen one way or the other. Floor is over to you, gentlemen. What do you want to talk about? Because I've run out of questions. Don't go quiet now. Wrong time to go.
Everyone else have a turn.
No, you can keep going.
What have people picked up recently? Has anybody got anything laid around?
I've got my
yes, we're going to talk about it because Phil wanted to show off, didn't he?
So I've got a couple on my desk at the moment.
Go on for it.
I've got, I said that weird looking boy from before. Got to kind of have his neck in the middle position for me, because if you have it too far down, he can't look left and right, and too far up, and he looks a bit odd. But in terms of posability again, and how he's going to look as the limb that he's destined to be, I think he's a wonderful figure. And the real surprise was something I was never going to pick up, because the aftermarket price went a bit mad on him. I said, because I think Groove's going to fall over if I don't adjust his toes. The aftermarket price was a bit bizarre on him. Was Toon Wheeljack.
Very nice.
And it was one where I thought looked a bit dull, just uninteresting, I thought, compared to the toy deco of the Masterpiece when I saw it in shots. And then as soon as I got him in hand, I realised that everything that's white plastic on the original one is painted this beautiful white on this version. And I don't think I remember a figure being so beautiful in hand that I thought I wasn't that bothered about when I saw it in photographs. So I know there'll probably be another version of him, or another company will do him, and I'll probably buy it because I'm a sucker. But I just think there was such such a nice surprise to get this guy in hand and think, wow, it just looks beautiful. And Wheeljack was one of the first Transformers I remember getting, and I remember waking up on my birthday dead early because my mum had left the reissue of the G1 Wheeljack next to my bed for me to open in the morning before I went to school. And I've just got such a strong connection to Wheeljack, so I think I'll probably keep the original Masterpiece and keep him. But yeah, lovely pickup, lovely colours. What a difference white paint can make, even if it makes it a pain for my style of photography to have him white. You love a challenge, don't you?
Preach.
Yeah, Missing Link Bumblebee was probably the last one I got in December as well, and he's just tiny little Bumblebee. Some nice pickups there, and I got Slipstream, but I know Lee said he wasn't keen, but I'm an absolute sucker for the colour scheme.
They are lovely colours
to our earlier topic.
Yeah.
And G-Works is taking pre-orders soon for the non-F upgrade kit for Slipstream that gives her proper shoulder cannons and fills in a lot of the gaps.
Maybe you want to look for.
That would that make you like her?
Yes, it would. It would make me like her. I mean, I do like her, but it might make me love her.
The colours on it are really beautiful. I'm a sucker for teal, definitely. But yeah, they're just a few of my favourite recent ones.
Seeing as we're on pickups, then Lee, do you want to go through your mere 92 pickups?
You're joking, but you're not. Right?
Be conscious we probably have half hour of a stream left in us.
I posted today. I did find a trio of jazzes, which one of them is Freeway Jazz, the animated replay. I picked up Zoom Zoom and Vinyl Tech Meister, and then when I got home, I realised I already owned Zoom Zoom. But because Zoom Zoom is an AI clone of Jazz, I can have more than one because I can army build those. I got a couple of bits from In Demand. So this is Leader Class Dark of the Moon Ironhide.
Big boy.
And also Leader Class Dark of the Moon Bumblebee, who's got a mask gimmick because it's still
the packaging looks like like the how God, I've lost my words. It looks like there's no scuffs, like scratches and stuff like that. The box looks like it's been well looked after, to be fair.
Well, once
looks
I
like
get
it's in good condition.
I'm going to open it and tear the box into bits because I don't need the box. So enjoy that.
You'll never see it again.
Who remembers Power Core Combiners?
Just about.
Brandon?
Yeah.
A little bit. Well, I have now completed my Power Core Combiners collection. So I've got every version of every mold from the West and from the East because I've got the final box set of United EX that I needed. And I've been looking for this for years and I've never seen it for sale. I got into a bidding war with this. This cost me a packet. This is probably one of the most expensive things in my collection at the minute. But I'm so pleased that I've now got a complete boxed United EX collection.
Isn't it amazing though when you buy a figure like a vintage or an older figure and it's boxed and someone's kept it boxed and you go, right, and you get to cut it open and open it for the first time. Isn't it wonderful?
I've had these figures out to photograph them and I put them back and retwisted all the little.
I was going to say, how have you put them back? Because they're sort of back in their original factory settings.
I was very careful, but then, like I say, the amount of money I've spent on this, I'm going to be extra careful with it.
I got this is open, you see, but he was sealed when I got it last year. The Hydra Drive animated Bumblebee, and it was just so lovely to cut the ties on this figure that was boxed from years ago. Yeah,
box fresh,
beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's a Japanese box, I'll probably keep it and I'll stick it in the loft. If it's a Western box, no, I'll just rip it to pieces, stick it in the bin. I'll keep the back. I'll keep the card. I'll keep that. And if I've got a box, I'll keep the back bit. I'll keep that and put it in a folder, but the rest of it, it'll go in the bin.
No.
Send it to Brandon in pieces.
I was going to say, oh, that's malicious. Don't do that.
I just want to say how cool it is seeing other people complete their collections as well. I know how it makes me feel knowing that when I complete my collection. So knowing that you've completed a part of what you've been collecting, that's awesome.
He's never truly completed, Brandon. Don't feel like he's ever reached a point. You know, there'll be something else.
I
just love how he's completed a certain section of something he's been collecting. I absolutely love it. I love stuff like that.
I mean, I completed Kiss Players last year, but I didn't shout about that. I just
just as well, I reckon. Just as well. I mean, talking about pickups, I'll probably get them out to show you. But I've got Fans Toys Magnus, as you're seeing there, and he's there. He's a thing.
And what a very good review video you did as well.
Yeah, 5 hours of transformation of 2 figures. My life.
It was great, and it convinced me not to buy it.
That's not what I'm trying to do, Lee. That's not my purpose. But I completely understand. It's nice. It's just kidding. It's
the paint looks beautiful. On everything I've seen of it, it looks beautifully finished.
Oh, it's heavy. Julian, don't look at it yet. I'll tell you what, I'll grab this boy as well. Keep talking.
That just reminds us of when his fire alarm went off last time. We got left on our own.
Oh,
that-
yeah.
Hoxie fire alarm because someone was cooking dinner. Yeah, bloody hell. Right, yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
He's absolutely gorgeous. He's so shiny, so good, and
Is his paint
you're
similar
definitely-
in finish to Scourge? The way the light's catching it looks a lot like Inquisitor.
I would agree, particularly when you look on the blues. That Inquisitor is lovely, and as I said in my
Isn't it?
top 10 of the year, I do think people sleep on that a bit. I think it's so nice. This is possibly Fans Toys' best painted figure. I would probably say that because so far anyway, it's just so nice to look at. But the fact it doesn't turn in truck mode is a big turn off to me. Like, come on, what do you do with a truck? And Lee, just because it's X-Transbots does not mean it's bad. Okay.
Well, no, when you put it next to the Fans Toys version, it does look better. Yeah, I don't mind it. Problem is,
it's
the
fine.
first time I saw that X-Transbots Ultra Magnus was at TF Nation. I think it was 2023. Somebody had it in the bar on the Sunday. I arrived, they'd started transforming it. A couple of hours later, when I left the bar, they still hadn't finished it. They'd had to get a screwdriver to undo some of the parts so they could move, and they'd cut themselves on it.
I mean, okay, that's ripping the arse out of it a little bit because it was a hellish transformation. But yeah, I didn't have to take it apart. But then look, this wasn't much better. But they're two pickups. I think is now I've got 3 Magnuses. You can just see another one there. I've got the Takara one, and I don't need 3. So one's got to go.
Magnuses, please.
I would dare make you count. You run out of fingers.
I'm going to assume you'll get rid of the X-Transbots though, because I think there's enough difference between the Takara and the Fans Toys or X-Transbots.
Okay, I don't know, but I will say this: of all of them, if I want to see Magnus in alt mode, it's Takara. I ain't transforming these 2 again.
No,
forget that. Jump off a bridge.
I've never transformed.
A question for you. Quick question for you: is of the 3 you've got, is the Takara one the only one that has the red bumper for the truck?
Yes.
Thought so. Because I remember the controversy when they first released pictures of Masterpiece Ultra Magnus. Everyone's saying, "Well, he's got a red bumper." And when we all went and actually watched the show again, he's got a red bumper in every shot where he turns into a truck. And our brains had coloured it silver in our memory.
Yeah, I think so. And that's where I feel the X-Transbots alt mode doesn't look amazing. It's okay, it's passable. But I that's why I have a lot of love for the Takara one. But I don't need 3 of them in my collection, so one of them's got to go. I think this is good, but oh god, that was a long time to review and compare and do the white in a bit. But I did really love it. Glad I got it, but yeah, at the same time, long review to prepare. And I've got stuff coming. But they're my more recent pickups. I've got I've got X-Transport Scrapper to go with my big dump, as you called it, Lee. See, another X-Transport. See, it's okay.
Big load, isn't
like
it?
X-Transport.
Big load.
Oh yeah, that's so much better, isn't it? It's not much better. Look, this is for kids as well, all right? But that is what they've called it. But yeah, it's that's something I'm really looking forward to. That's probably my most recent pickups. It's everything's on its way to me, and as it's mostly third party, it's starting to shut down for Chinese New Year and Lunar New Year.
Just saying about your review of Magnus, which was brilliant.
Thank you.
Why I couldn't
Checks in the post.
ever do what you do in terms of YouTube is because I mean, first of all, I've never even transformed X-Transbots Ultra Magnus. I've just posed and photographed them.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Save the stress.
It's why I couldn't do YouTube more in terms of reviewing, because it's just the time. You said 5 hours to sort the transformations. I don't think I could.
Of both of them, it was
I think
probably two hours for Fans Toys, and it was probably about 3 hours for. That is me doing it first attempt, so I'm naturally slower. And as you know, you said it before, that's me watching good old MGo's video going back 10 seconds a lot. And yes, I
no
do
shame
that.
in watching an expert at his craft. I use Emgo
Well,
if I have to transform a masterpiece figure that I've not come across for a while.
It's because he always gets everything perfectly in shot. Like you're never like, oh, I can't quite see what he's done there. It's
some of my third party
absolutely
stuff.
time.
I get on Emgo is brilliant. Like you said, he gets
Oh,
the part you want to transform. He gets it perfect, like zoomed in as well, so you know which ones to tab in and tab out.
But you know, funny you should mention that, because I've been getting it a lot recently. A lot of people say on my reviews saying, why don't you show transformations? I've never shown transformations because it's absolute cluster something to get it all in shot, and I'm reaching around the camera to do so. And if it's anything like this, it's heavy die cast. I end up doing it because I've tried it once or twice before, and it's quarter out of shot. It's like there, and yeah, a lot of people are asking me to do transformations in my videos now, and I'm like, you watch Emgo. The man's got it nailed down. You ain't going to come see me. Why are you going to come see me?
Just pretend I'm doing a transformation and switch to Emgo on another tab, and then switch back again and pretend it was me.
Yeah. Just like, and my voice has changed.
Just copy his footage and go, these are definitely my hands twisting this bit for you. Look at that.
Yeah.
God, it took me
take note of the
different that best of video, man, and it was just me talking over photographs. That was all my enthusiasm to do that.
But I do think that in terms of recent pickups, that's kind of when you get like a big thing like that, it feels quite exhausting to do. It's like, so that was a big video. It's like I find that when it gets to combiners, when I've done reviews on them, and when I finish, it's like Fans Toys Superior, 5 years, 7 years from announcement to physically finishing it, put it all together, and I was like, right, I'm going to sleep now. I'm done. So there's a bit of that with this. Anyway, I'm ranting on.
Of your life so far.
Oh,
waiting for Fans Toys Superior.
That's depressing, Phil. God's sake. Brandon, what you got recently, mate? I mean, you have kind of gone through your top 10s of the year, but is there a more recent pickup you want to show off?
Yeah, I've been collecting again properly, since TF Nation actually died down a bit. Obviously, with the absence from YouTube as well, I didn't really collect much since TF Nation, but I've got back into collecting now, and I am absolutely buzzing with the things that I've actually collected. So I got these on a absolute steal. So I want to just show them and then give you a bit of a backstory. So I've just got the last night Legion class Megatron and Dragonstorm, and I've actually just got these and a few others in a bundle, sealed obviously, for £25. These two are the rarest, the last night Legion class figures for some reason. Megatron is absolutely rare. I don't know why. And Dragonstorm is, I believe, Dragonstorm. I saw one going in Germany for £50 plus the postage. So, and Megatron as well. So these two were roughly around like £150 for both, and I got them for 25. So I'm absolutely buzzing. Absolutely
That's a really good deal. Have you seen the red?
Really good deal.
Have you seen the clear red version of that Legion Megatron from Takara?
I've not.
There, I've got one. Basically, it was a free gift on a magazine. It's a free gift on a magazine in Japan. I think it's called Frenzy Version. I'll find the details. I'll stick it on Instagram.
Yeah,
Frenzy Red, not Frenzy
Blue.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, please. I want to give I hope Guzz is in the chat, but I want to give a massive shout out to Mr. Guzzy Hero. We did a swap deal for those who don't know. Obviously, he collects loose stuff. Obviously, I collect sealed Bayverse stuff, and this is probably by far I always said this every time I pick something up. I've actually got I've got movie props. I've got rare Japanese stuff. But this is probably one of the rarest things that I've got now in the collection. I think there was only 1,000 of these made. And to actually get a sealed one, again, I think it's a big win, to be fair. And my last pickup of the week, I managed to get my hands on the YOLO Park.
This looks really good.
You build it up. I have never had as much fun, honestly. I never thought I'd have fun building things up. I got the YOLO Park Scourge and I thought it was a nightmare. So I bought this. And again, I think this is probably one of the best things I've bought in a while. It's genuinely crazy. And for the price point as well, I think it was like £80 to £90. Like, honestly, it might sound a lot, but once you get it in hand and stuff like that. It's an absolute bargain, a real absolute bargain, and the details as well are crazy.
Is that a different line though to the one we were talking about last time when we had the Rise of the Beast ones?
This is the AMK.
Is it the Pro series?
Yeah, the Pro series.
Right.
Yeah,
got a bit more to it.
I believe the Ape Link from Rise of the Beast is part of that line as well, and they've got Mirage from Rise of the Beasts. That's due out anytime as well. But again, I think what I love about this the most is obviously it comes with the sword and shield, comes with the wrist blade, it comes with the Nemesis Prime Scar. Obviously, I've got it with the scar. You can have it without. Comes with a battle mask. It comes with literally mostly everything that he had in the movie. I genuinely think this is probably the most bargained piece I've ever bought. Honestly, I think when you just when you buy something and you're genuinely happy with it. This is how I feel about this 100%. I think this is one of the best things I've bought recently.
It does look really smart. I mean, if you like model kits, Blockies is there, Brandon. Join us.
And Andy is talking about them continuously, and I'm like, I really want to get into Blockies, and I think I know you guys were on about it at the beginning of the stream. I think I might have to, I might have to
see if you can buy one individual box, and obviously it's a blind lottery. You'll get who you get, but experience it, because I did that at Reading. I had some duplicates, and I just ended up dropping them in people's bags. I'm like, there you go, have a Blocky, and I did that to Sam as well. And yeah, you end up with boxes of them, but they're just going from straight to, and they're so tiny. Look at it, he's absolutely weak.
Defender one,
yeah,
but even like the Defender ones, if you compare them to the normal Blockies. There's so many different
is that the Blockies Bumblebee?
That's Blockies TF1 Bumblebee, but it's the smaller one. And then there's the Defender versions, which are like these really tiny guys with cute little heads. And then there's also the I've got
this one
up here as well. And then he's bigger again than the other ones. And if you hit him a couple of times, you'll light up. And then there's Optimus there, which is
just punching it.
Yeah, don't hit your toys.
I've got the Megatron to build like that, which
the Megatron is something else.
But then it's really that's nice. 4 different sizes for them, and you just do so much with them. I love photographing because I love messing around with the scale and stuff. Yeah, great fun.
They're just worth picking up, and if you like that for the YOLO Park stuff,
a few more left to build.
Only a few.
I've got. You know what? Screw it. It's happening.
I haven't built.
Peer pressure works. Peer pressure works, gentlemen. I want that. Can I have that? Thank you. Send it to me.
Can I share a screen quickly? Talking about peer pressure.
Go on then. If you're on, how do I do that? I'm trying to work out how I do it. Oh yes, here we go.
Here you go, Brandon. That is Burning Megatron.
Whoa!
He certainly looks like it.
That's the last night Megatron.
Yes, in red with gold paint, and it was given away free in Japan if you bought a magazine. I have seen them pop up on buy quite frequently for not much money. So next time I do a buy basket thing, I'll hit you up and see if I can find.
Yeah, please, yeah, definitely, yeah. I'll give you a message on Instagram. That's amazing if you can do that.
There you go. That's proper enabler work, isn't it? That's how he gets you. I mean, I'm still waiting for the Days of Future Past, isn't it? The Maximals
the Beast Wars. Yeah.
Yes.
That was one of my big surprises of last year, because that was one of those things I thought was going to be years before I get hold of that, and then bang, got one. I was like, yes.
That's my charter to you. If you ever come across that again, you send carrier pigeons to my house immediately, and I will move heaven and earth. That is something else. But all right. Well, I think we've covered everything for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. So we'll go around the table as to where everyone can find you, and possibly what you might have coming up, Brandon. So Lee, we'll start with you first. Where's the best place to find you? Although I think your name says it all.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I've come off Twitter now, so I don't really post anything on Twitter, but I'm on Blue Sky, so spider-father.bsky.social. Yeah, just I'm just going to keep taking photos of the stuff that I get in regularly. I've got a huge backlog of stuff that I haven't taken photos of yet. I've got 2 big Japanese parcels sitting in customs waiting to be delivered, so I've got to crack them open at some point. And as I say, I'm hoping to get my first YouTube video out before TF Nation. My room is done, the carpet's down. I've ordered the couch and the armchair. I just need to sort out a table and racking, and it's all good to go.
So, any hints as to what that first video might be, or is it
Yes,
all a
Optimus
surprise?
Prime.
It's probably going to be 900 Optimus Primes.
It's going to be JD Red Knight, the movie exclusive from Chinese online shopping store that was a repaint and remold of Age of Extinction Galvatron. I'm not chasing the algorithm.
You're right, Brandon.
Do you have literally every single Transformers figure in existence? That's like mega
I am
rare.
1 figure away from hitting 4,700 Transformers figures.
Definitely do a collection video like a tour. Definitely.
That has to be your first video.
That has
to
to
be
be
honest.
your first video, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's. I think you have a problem. A good
No, I don't.
problem, but a problem.
Good problem. Yeah, that is.
It's a good problem. It's a problem that I want as well.
Only 840 odd figures to get, and my vintage collection's done.
Only 840. All right, fair enough. Well, do go and follow Spiderfather. Follow Lee on Blue Sky and, of course, on Instagram, as he is there as well. Phil, what's new with you, sir? Where can people find you, and what have you got? What in the works?
All the usual places. Instagram, Blue Sky. Blue Sky's been really active since Twitter took a nosedive, hasn't it? So yeah, Instagram, Blue Sky, still on Twitter, Facebook, Threads, although I question what the point of being on that is. But
because it's free.
Well, yeah, I think so. I just I post daily photos, sometimes reels with photo collections. I'm not going to lie and say I'm going to start doing loads of YouTube videos because I'm clearly not, but you'll definitely get one next Christmas. If you're
like a John Lewis advert.
Yeah. Super clean photos of Transformers, white background, with a good variety. And I just love to chat about Transformers anyway. So, yeah.
And they're all in focus, which is a lot better than what I can manage half the time.
Well, yeah, I think when you're not going to go the diorama route, you have to spend your time making sure that the focus is exactly where you want it. If you're not going to...
For those who don't know, Phil is the type of photographer that I want to be when I take a photo, and I get annoyed when my photos don't come out as crisp as his do.
I think editing, when I learned to edit, I look back and I look before I got really into Lightroom, and I look back and see the sort of difference in consistency. Good. And then I can see the point where I started using Lightroom, which I didn't even get for toys. I got it because I took a load of photos of the Tyne Bridge on a beautifully crisp morning, and there was dust on the lens. And that's actually how I got Lightroom, because I do loads of nature photography as well. And yeah, actually getting that and learning to edit was such a massive difference. And then obviously I only started taking photos 4 years ago is when I got my first camera. So learning things like starting off and just doing aperture, and then learning how to use ISO and everything. And tripoding my shots instead of handheld, and taking a bit more time to set up. I just think, yeah, it's interesting when you can see progression. I love seeing progression. And,
absolutely. What you've managed to achieve in terms of like followers and some of your works in 4 years is pretty good. I thought you've been going longer than that.
Oh, thank you. No, I got my first. I bought my first camera after the first COVID wave at the back end of the year. So I think that was 2020, and then in 2021, I bought a lens, because I knew nothing about it. I bought a lens thinking, I'll do some telephoto stuff, and I bought a lens for the wrong camera, bought the wrong lens. So I ended up upgrading my camera, and that's when I started getting into it, and then learning the nature stuff and learning the toy stuff side by side. So yeah, thanks, I appreciate it. Just
no, your work speaks for itself. If you look back to
the start of my account, there's a massive difference in terms of quality, I think, but...
No, absolutely. And thanks for all your help that you've given me with tips of it, because you're the one who introduced me to Lightroom, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't class myself as a photographer. I just take accompanying photos. Well, we'll say, I'm taking loads of photos of Fans Toys Magnus, and loads of people go nuts for him. He does kind of dance with the camera though, which is pretty good.
He's a looker.
He's a bit of a slack. Anyway, Brandon, what you got coming up? So, because we hear, well, first things first, where can we find you? But also, what have you got coming up? Because we're getting teases, aren't we? Big things for the year.
Yeah, I like teasing.
Tell
stuff.
us, put you on the spot. Tell us.
Yeah, that is on the spot. So I have started using Instagram. Obviously, my name here, basically Bayverse and Madness. I have started using Instagram from now on. I did have an Instagram all the time. All the time. I just didn't really use it, but I am looking forward to actually using that as like my main social account for my YouTube. But again, as you've mentioned, I have got some big things planned. I have some teasers, but I'm hoping to start uploading again probably properly later in the week, because unfortunately I'm busy tomorrow, so I've got the match. So hopefully this week, with the way my work shifts are at work, because I've got to basically work around my job, the times of my job. So sometimes I can record, like when I work 2 while 10 on the mornings, it's really, really hard to record a video. So I try and do it while I'm on the 6-2 shift after work. So again, I've got some complete collection videos coming. I've got a massive retrospective. Oh, thank you, Sam. I've got a massive retrospective again in the works. Again, I'm going to be completing some collections. I've got a studio series dedicated room in development. You asked earlier, Craic, about if I collect things loose. I do actually collect 2 versions, definitely, of studio series figures. So I collect sealed, and I put them in plastic acrylic cases, and then I do also collect studio series figures to mess around with. So again, I am making a dedicated room. I think there's like 100 and odd studio series, and I nearly have every single one. So I'm really, really looking forward to showcasing that when it's done, because a lot of work's gone into it. But I think that video is going to come out later on in the year, because it is a big, really, really big project. Again, as mentioned, there is a lot of studio series figures, so trying to find like the right sized shelves, to fit them on, so it looks like crisp, really nice to look at. So that's one thing I'm looking forward to, and again, I'm looking forward to making videos on the toy fairs. Looking forward to going to some toy fairs in the year. I only went to one last year, unfortunately, but I'm looking forward to going to some more. And of course, TF Minicon in Manchester, and TF UK Con's literally around the corner after that as well. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to the things I've got planned this year.
You'll have to say hello in Manchester then.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely meet
Are we
up.
going to see sort of your roundup and haul videos? Because that's actually how I came across you following UK Con. And I saw, because we didn't speak at UK Con, and then I found your follow-up video, and I was really quite hit with how enthusiastic you were, and it was really, really heartwarming to see.
Yeah, I said this in my end of the year video. I feel I have massive respect for TF UK Con as a convention, because I do really think that's where a lot of things did change. I'm sat here now with your guys because really of that convention. So I'm really, I've got massive respect to everybody who did that. I had such a blast. It was one of my favorite conventions of the year, because I think I got there for 8 o'clock. And by the time I got to the end, it just went by so quick, yeah. And you would not think it, because it's a really small room, isn't it? Really small room, but the amount of fun you can have, it's genuinely amazing. So I do genuinely have massive love and respect for them, because again, that's where I feel like a lot of things changed for me personally, which again, I thank everybody.
I think I can't be the only one who kind of noticed you from that convention. And it's nice as well, because then it makes you look forward to other conventions coming up for the year that you can all meet up with and say,
exactly, yeah.
You and Phil have seen each other on the stream here, but you can go and say hi for the first time face to face. And you and I have spoken at Hilton, of course, and Lee's gone around giving people toys and gifts as he does. Maybe I'll give you a blockies.
Lockdown.
I'm hoping
I
at.
came back from TF Nation, Phil, and I found I had like a dozen of those things floating around that I forgot to take with me. So they'll be back. They'll be back this year if you want a Q Transformers Lockdown.
Yeah,
because that's what we kind of did, didn't we? Because you gave me a Lockdown, and you gave me a Cheetor, and then you gave me a bloody Tripticon. This seems huge.
I'm hoping at TF Nation that Mr. Spiderfather can cook me up the last night Megatron, the red one.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I will be doing. Because I'm trying to restrict my buy purchases to a couple of points in the year because I do get carried away. And
I understand that feeling. Jesus.
June is next, which is before TF Nation. So you might be lucky. You might be lucky.
Oh,
excellent. Well, of course, everyone here today is all of their details to their various social accounts I put into the description below. Do go and check them out. Do give them a subscribe. They're wonderful people who have joined me here this evening. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, gents, for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
And I'll let you go.
Thanks.
You're more than welcome. And I'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye.
And stream.